The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Well, good morning. Good morning. It's Morris Media Live Studios, and we are enjoying the next level convo with Brenda and Khadija. Good morning. How's everything?
Great. The end of the week.
It's always my Monday, but go ahead.
It's the end of the week, finishing up strong. It was a good week.
It was productive?
Good, very productive, busy. It was a really good week.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, mine was a mix of both. It was really, really wonderful. Also trying, because I think whenever we get into a reevaluation of ourselves or any situation, then that takes you to a whole nother level. And so it was that time for me to do reevaluation of myself and what my purpose is. Just to stay focused and to know what I'm trying to achieve. And I did that this week. So it was bittersweet because then you have to deal with some truths, and all truths are not pleasant. All truths are not, what you really want to be like, oh my God, this really happened or whatever. But I'm totally happy and I'm in a good place and I'm moving forward with a positive, progressive, productive mindset and attitude. And I wanted to say, good morning. The marathon continues. I love Nip. I'm so sorry. I just love the spirit that he put down and the mission that he was on. And it's too often when we have really good spirits like that, that we forget quickly. And I can't.
Yes.
I cannot,
He will never be forgotten.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm really hoping and pushing for, because that example that he set, it has to be something that we take in and we utilize it on a larger scale. We have to emulate that and we have to be that. And I felt like he was one of those individuals that wanted the best for his people. For his people. And that is phenomenal, because that means that there's an unselfishness that lived in him that he gave, and he gave so much into it cost him. It cost him. But in the cost, there was reward, even though it's sad. And I would do anything to just hear him or see him walking or do anything right now. But the reward was that there were so many minds that was opened up. That had an opportunity to not only look at everything from just their own perspective, but a bird's eye view. Because at first I was listening, bird's eye view, what do you mean? But then I really understand that meant just looking at any situation from multiple angles and not just from your own perspective or what it is that you want out of it. So I feel that's important. And I want to share in Nip's Corner this morning. First of all, do you have anything to say about Nip? Because I'm just...
No, go. Hey, listen, I can't object to nobody speaking on Nipsey, so the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. So, I did create a segment in our situation, which is called Nip's Corner, which is something that I wanted to do in dedication of him, to share something that was involving him. So one of the things that I did research, and I found out that he helped launch this thing called the time zone movement, which is to remove barriers to jobs, housing, and opportunities to people who have already served their time in prison that had convictions. And he said that, the conviction, you've done it, you served the time. Now, how do you get back in society and become a productive individual? And that's very difficult to do when they're saying they put limits on you because you did a criminal act. Now, we have to know that, yeah, it's wrong to do criminal acts. It is. But you could be in different stages of your life. And the one thing that I always say, because I truly believe, is that this life is about transformation. It is about growing, development, change, becoming. And you can't still be that same person that you were at 18, 19, or 20, at 30 and 35 and 40. And if you are, come see me. No, I'm just kidding. But, the whole ideal is to say that we do have to change. We do have to transform. We do have to become. And he promoted that. So with the time done movement, that is basically just giving opportunity to 70 million Americans living with the past conviction that you can still be able to do things in this life. And it's rebuilding lives. It's letting you know that there is a rebuilding process, and we're here to do that. So big up to Nips for just having his hands in so many things, because he saw so much for African American people and people of Spanish descent that we didn't even see for ourselves. So for him to be that brother, to open up that door, open up that light, and share that information, I think that's extremely important. And I'm going to share that on a weekly basis.
Great.
That's what I said.
You got to keep going. You got to keep Nip alive, his spirit alive. And, if he was able to touch you in that way, you should spread that so that hopefully that someone else could be touched in a positive way.
Absolutely, 100%. And I wanted to say...
10 toes down.
Well, that's a quote from last week, which was, the game will test you. Don't fold. Stay 10 folds down. Fold. And that's NIP. And that's the marathon. And the marathon, I do believe, as I've said before, it is about our culture. It is about becoming. It is about growing. And that's what the marathon is. That's the time using red readings. So to God get in that. So I you say, we need to stop, continue to run it till we're successful doing it.
We don't have to start over now that, you just pick up stuff. He said, like he's the bond. He already knows, and what he wanted for us as a people to happen.
Yes, and we just have to find a word to understand we need the same thing and our words, or that he saw for us. And that is the marathon. Just watching the growth and the development and the change in me interacting and talking with others and listening to how he affected their lives is wonderful. And not only through conversation, but through action. And doing something and making a difference is so important. I'm always complaining or talking about all these different situations that I'm finding over the internet about us. And I'm trying to choose which one is going to be that fight. Because
it's so many battles.
That's exactly it.
So many battles. So trying to find one. And you can't tackle them all, but they all can be solved.
Yes, that's the thing.
But I think it's just picking one that you might be most committed to and working on that one, completing that, and then moving forward to the next one. But it's so many problems, so many situations. It is hard.
And that's where I'm at with it. But he did stir up that consciousness in me. It started, I mean, I already had it because I read a lot. But he just brought it back to the forefront because sometimes the things will play out or you just give up because it's just not working. They're not doing it. It's not going to happen.
You get lost, distracted, a lot of different things. Yeah.
But he started back up along with, I do like a Sunday service. And so where I reside at on Sundays, it has been a strong topic about what are we doing? What are you doing to make a difference? So between my understanding of where Nip was with the marathon and our culture and just trying to do something different and just listening to my Sunday service, just because to me what to stay on. And it's just the things to do that you do narrow it. I'm process of narrowing out. I mean, you go like, I got that one thing when you are and fight for because it's never lean for just in the system. Because I have seen so many stories where things have happened, black and white. Not all white people are horrible and monsters. And, no, they're not.
No, yeah.
But the ones that are the ones that I'm addressing. But there's so many issues here with the police brutality and the murders and the death of African American people. I don't even think they shoot at Spanish people as much as they would just kill us. And that has been just plaguing me for a minute now that this injustice on two people get arrested for the same thing. One person comes back beat up and bloody and handcuffed, and the other person, they're offering them food. Are you hungry? I just don't understand this.
Just even with the shootings that recently happened,
we have El Paso
easily just took it into custody, or the guy that was on the California stabbing spree who left 4 people dead. He stabbed him. He was, I believe, Mexican. They just arrested him. And, he got a little more roughed up than even the people that were doing the shooting,
Right.
But it was still, if that was any, our race or black or anything like that, it would have been a different story. They would have shot on site.
On site. And that's the thing that really disturbed me. I think the thing that just put the cherry on the little basket for me and tipped it all the way over was the fact that I saw this Caucasian man tussling, rumbling with the police, rumbling with them in this all-out tussle, had their batons hitting them, then got up, escaped, and got in their vehicle and drove off in the police car, and not one bullet shot fired. Not one shot. That was just unbelievable. The brother is handcuffed with or either his hands up, and he's shot and killed in the back, and all that. It just has to stop. It has to stop, and this is going on across America, and it is just totally unacceptable. And I cannot rest at night after I troll the internet like that, and I see all these different circumstances and situations, and then it just brought me to the mindset that can a people be so hated? How can you hate someone so much? Now it makes me want to investigate, where are these officers from that are patrolling our streets, that are pulling the trigger, that has limited understanding about proper communication and the proper handling of people, or not even having any respect for African American life?
Well,
where are they from?
Things. One, a lot of them I feel like
are from the South.
That
with
or
a mentality.
They just weren't happy in their life, and this is a time to get back. Like anybody that could have done something to them.
But no,
and then also it's training. They're systematically trained to think a certain way or perceive people a certain way. So if you go into this 6-week, and then also there's no real requirements to be a cop. You just could take a test, high school diploma. That's it. So that shows you right there the mindset level is not that high. 2, you go to this training again and you taught these people are violent, or these people are this, or these people are our targets, or, you never know what that training could be to program their mind to automatically, once they see that person, this is how we're going to treat them. No matter who they are, what they do, what class they're in, anything. It's just once we see this person.
That's a hatred. That's what I'm talking about. And I want to chime in a little bit here. Okay, the first reason you said is that they're just mad and angry. Okay, I understand that. But you're mad and angry at a whole race?
Yeah.
A whole race of people? But I do believe
jealous too.
I understand. I do want to go back to, I think that I did hear at my Sunday service that it was spoken about that we need to have more people that are African American descent on the police force, and maybe that might make a difference.
I don't think so.
It might make a difference. Let me finish with this. It might make a difference. I understand what you're saying too, because I don't agree with the fact that they just wake up mad and angry. Like you said earlier, systematically.
It's been embedded.
Yes, exactly. And that's my point. And I do agree with the training. I've spoken on that a couple times, that they do need to be retrained. And there needs to be a better relationship between the police and the community in that training. But I think we need to start with who's over the police department, the mayor. Oh, it's the Jackie Lacey, I think.
Well, actually, it's a private entity.
I know, but you still have to report to someone. And then, even in a private entity, there's a boss.
And also with the training too, though, they're targeted to train this way because it drives revenue. So if they change their programming or how they're trained, they're not going to be arresting as many people at all, but minorities or whatever the case is, because those minorities are the people that are going to jail, making, they're not really, how much they're getting paid in jail?
Okay,
businesses are ran by people that are in jail.
No, absolutely.
So it's all tied in.
It's all
they
tied
don't want to really
stop
change
this.
any of that.
And I do understand
because it's all intertwined. So I get what you're saying as far as our people. So I feel like the burden falls on us to be better, and for not our men or our family or our children, sons, daughters, or whoever in the situation to not be in those situations or know how to act accordingly or know what to do when you're in that situation. Because they're not going to tell you what's in the best interest for yourself. They're going to tell you what's the best interest for their boss or their company.
And we understand that. And I'm cool with all that information. But this is where the buck needs to stop, where we need to take responsibility as people of the community, the people that are truly being affected by their unprofessionalism and not being trained correctly. That's why I said we need to go to whoever is over that entity, the mayor, whoever runs the police department. I believe it's the person, Jackie Lacey, if I'm not mistaken. But we need to make a loud statement to that person that this is unacceptable. All the cases that are similar, that have a different outcome, it needs to be brought up, and it needs to be reviewed. I need to start a committee of people that are willing to do the research, willing to come up with the facts, and we need to present the facts, because at this point in the game for me I can't rest with it. And I have 3 sons, so I am always worried about my sons on a daily basis. At a traffic stop, anything could happen to them because of the mentality of the police officers. So what I am saying and suggesting and taking on all challengers and all people that are interested, 323-293-3375. My challenge, I believe, is really going to be about the injustice in the police department, and we need to tackle that. And it needs to stop it, because if this man shot 20 people and walked away freely without a glitch.
Yeah.
And I was talking with someone on the phone, and they told me that another mass shooting, after the individual did the mass shooting, they took this individual to Burger King. The shooter. He said he was hungry. Well, you just shot up 20-something people, and now you're hungry? And and he gets a ride to Burger King? The injustice is way beyond belief. But a lot of that is because it is what we allow. We have a voice, and we need to utilize our voice, and not through our political arena in regards to, let's go to the city and let's do this and do that. No, we've been doing that for years and nothing has changed. We need to take a firm stand on the injustice of police brutality towards African American people and let them know that we will not stand for it. And I don't believe that the boys should hold court on the streets with the police officers. I don't believe they should shoot and kill, but I do believe that the officers need to be accountable for the things that you're doing that is unacceptable, that is not written in the rule book to do, and coming up with all. I mean, I watched the court case that we shared, and the officer got on the stand and completely lied, and the jury completely believed him. It has to stop. The time that they're giving brothers, way more for the same crime, it has to stop. Then there was this.
Well, that was the same thing even back in the day. You getting caught with marijuana, and now it's legalized. So people were doing hard time. Lives were, messed
disrupted
up because of these things. And
well, they can now make money. It's a revenue in it. Now we can figure out a way we can tax it, and it's okay with the people. We in 2019, not everybody, but a lot of people smoke, and so let's get that money too. Like, they're getting money from everything.
People were getting charged years
all the way around
off of little minor infractions, and now
back to that.
It's legal. So that's again the thing you're talking about, the injustice of getting charged with the same crime, or crack versus cocaine. Getting charged, same thing, but different
forms,
criminal offenses, and different charges of how long you'll be in jail for the same thing. So I agree with you saying. I think the first thing, like you said, is unity, coming together. And even though if it doesn't affect you personally right now, it could affect your future family member or someone you might be close to. But I think it's getting everybody to work together now, and I think that's the hard part, because everybody's so focused on their own self and their own life. It's kind of hard to come together and work together.
Well, no. Of course, it's all the distractions and the unity that we had in the 60s and the 70s. It was broken down through drug infiltration, putting drugs in the community. Oh, now you have to have single family homes. Oh, she can get this much money from welfare if there's no man in the house. And so it was just a systematic design to break down the black family from the beginning, and it has worked in some areas, not all. Not all, please don't misunderstand me, but a lot. We have been systematically affected by a plan that we didn't even know was in effect. And that takes me to another story, which I was absolutely livid after I read it. Although these things happen. It was the Holocaust, the Black Holocaust, bringing black people here from Africa. Just to see these pictures that I saw, and to read the story in 2019, it just shows that this hatred that a lot of Caucasian people have for black people, African American people, I don't even know what to call us. We've had all these different names because we have no history, no lineage to really say what is it. But the hatred that they have portrayed on a people is just unbelievable, overwhelming. And I'm starting to feel it. I think at some point in our life, you're busy. You have your life, you have your career, you have your children, your hustle and bustle every day at work. So there are these things that you don't pay attention to or don't really affect you because I got a good job. Mm-hmm. I'm making money. I live in a decent area. It doesn't affect you. Even with us coming, a couple stories in one, you guys. I ran on and come in and out of stories, so just be patient with me because my brain is overflowed with so much stuff until I'll get into one subject. But I will get back to my Holocaust story. But I wanted to touch base in the midst of that story and tell this one. We came down the other day, and we drove down Skid Road. That was unbelievable. Truly unbelievable. There was a mixture of people down there. Predominantly, it was black people. It was really black people, and that was scary. Just a little nation of people living in tents and in a condition that is very hardening. It's very sickening. And so this whole systematic plan that I believe is in effect, that when I saw that, it's working. That's a whole group of people out of society that have just mentally said it's okay to live like this for whatever reasons. Yeah. That was heartbreaking. I wanted to almost just take pictures to bring so people could see. And I know we see bums and we see tents, but on a mass level like that, it was overwhelming, it was shocking, and it was extremely disturbing. And this is justice in America? I don't think so. I think that we need to really take a stand and speak up and get off of these phones and tablets and computers and really step in to feel what is really going on. Because if we don't do anything, it's only going to get worse. So I want to take on a challenge of a couple things. And I'm working it out because I'm so disturbed by all this stuff. But I wanted to go back to my story with the Black Holocaust. Oh, just a minute. You think we can take a break right now? When we come back from break, I'll definitely go into that, my Holocaust story. And so we're going to take a break and we'll be to go back to my story with the Black. Right back. I don't have my glasses. Welcome back to Next Level Convo. And I'm Brenda.
And I'm Khadija.
Morris Media Live Studios. You can always call in at area code 323-293-3375. You can join in the conversation. You can let me know what's on your mind. What are you thinking? All that is awesome. And I would welcome all the callers. But yes, as I was saying when we left, that I wanted to talk a little bit about the Holocaust. Just a little bit. Because it is really overwhelming. And I think it's something that we need to educate and teach our children so that they can understand and appreciate who they are, even though it did leave me wanting more information. The piece I took, I made me research a little bit more because it hit home so hard. But it was about the Middle Passage. It says that they were, the cargo, which was people, us, African Americans, I'm using African American, okay? I'm just going to go there. Because our lineage is from Africa and we are here in America. Born in America with little knowledge of my history in Africa. I couldn't even tell you what tribe I was from. I want to tell you what I believe and where I believe I was from, but the true fact, the matter is that I really don't know that information. But the cargo, which was us, the black people that came here, was chained together at the bottom of a ship. They lost their language, customs, and traditions. They picked up the English language the best that they could because they recognized that you need to know it to survive. They were not able to be able to read and write. And they worked from sun up to sundown. Just sun up to sundown. In inhumane conditions and treated really bad. They were sold. Babies and families were taken away from each other. So when we talk about the Trump with the Spanish border and the babies over there, our ancestors would definitely understand that plight because there were babies that were just snatched from the mothers as they were born. They were breeding children for the Africans that were here, just to try to breed a better individual that could work harder, longer hours. I don't know how much harder or longer you could work from sundown to sunup. It's only 24 hours in a day. But they had, that's what they wanted to do. The ladies, they were raped. The names that we had were other names that we had no knowledge of. We had no last names, no birth certificates, no heritage of any kind. We've dealt with the Underground Railroad. It's just a little short history of the things that have happened. I'm moving progressively to today. But we went through the Underground Railroad. We were here, like I said before, with no birth certificates, no kind of identification, no legacy. It survived the Civil War. You go and fight in a war and you come back and you can't get a job and people are saying derogatory things to you, and you fought for this country. How disrespectful. How disrespectful. They were determined anyway, because we are determined people. And that's why we keep pushing through no matter what, through all this madness. They had to face the burning crosses. They had to face the era of the KKK. Hangings, lynches, just all type of stuff that we couldn't even imagine. That they had to suffer through. And now moving on forward, because we had the assassination in Memphis. Was that Martin Luther King? I believe that was. We had Malcolm X assassinated. We had segregation in the South. We had ghettos in the North. Where are we in the history books? Where are we? What is our legacy? What is our history? Oh, the first time I ever even heard the word slave, I was in a school. And I heard the word slave. So they would teach you that, but not all the great things that we have done, created, invented, and persevered through. So I'm on one, because this hatred is coming from here. You brought people here and to work for you, to do all these things, to rob them, rape them, and do all this, and then turn around and you just still hate them. How
because
deep is
they're able
that?
to see that you prevailed through all those obstacles and challenges, and they're probably like, "You're still pushing through. You're still doing good," you know. So it's hard for them because they probably wouldn't have been able to if the roles were reversed. They probably wouldn't have been able to overcome
And
what
I think,
we did.
and that's the moral of my little story here, is that all these things happened, all these events took place, and we still push through, and we're still great at whatever we do.
Anything we do, everything we do.
But the fear of another human being is running so deep that you would do these things. I heard I told you, did we talk about, I told you I heard the guy on the one of these, trolling one of these sites saying that he just cannot stand black people. He is standing there with a rifle shooting up a Nike box. They wear these shoes, it's all they do, and saying all these derogatory things. I mean, there was consequences for him because he lost his job. But how many people feel that way that are really behind the scenes? And that's why I wanted to push my conversation over to Trump, 45. You know, over the past years, weeks, months, and days that this man has been in office, there has been so many things said about the things that he has tweeted and his reaction to certain things, his comments that he has said. People say, is he racist? Is he this? Is he that? Well, it just made me think a little bit, and it made me do a little bit more research about him. And his family line, just a little bit, because I don't want to give up too much energy on 45, but I do want people to know that his family, like most of our people that run the world, leaders, their family was doing something that wasn't of a positive nature to jumpstart this. And his grandfather, he owned brothels. I said brothels and bars, which in street term, prostitute homes. So he made his money off of prostitution, cricket, cheating. I read his grandfather's bio and some information on him. This is 45's grandfather. Stealing land, unfair dealings, which created their wealth. Only thing that I really need to say about his father, because we're talking lineage here, the only thing I need to say about his father is that he was a high-ranking member in the KKK. 45's father. And that brings me to the mindset of how he was raised, the environment that he was in. Our environment, the things that we do on a daily, plays a major part in how we live. Because either we pick up ways or someone picks up our ways, or, you know, it's what you are. It makes you. His father, 45's father, is high-ranking member of the KKK. And we are so comfortable with 45 being where he is. It's not shame on him, it's shame on us. It is really shame on us, because I believe the more and more I troll this little internet thing and I see all these things happening all across America, I feel like he's inciting this type of behavior because of the subliminals. What is that? Because of these subliminal things that he's putting out there. And for him to talk about the 4 black women and tell them that they need to go back to their infested countries that were born in America. 45. Really? Really? And your father was a part of the KKK? And a little Nazism there too. So we need to really figure out what the heck is going on and what it is that we can actually do to make a change and make a difference. And, you know, I'm a strong believer black by black. And I'm a strong believer that I'm back to, we need to get into those groups and challenge ourselves regarding the laws. But we all need to get on a committee and figure out what it takes for impeachment. Why are you smiling?
I'm just listening.
I know, I'm serious. You're smiling. What's going through your mind?
I don't know. I really don't pay Trump that much attention because it's a bit of an embarrassment.
But I think we should pay him a little bit more attention because before you know it, it'll be some new law pushed up and we'll all be on a concentration camp somewhere.
Well, that's already happening. When you're traveling and you get stopped by the police, that's the same thing as what was happening in Nazi when they stop you and ask for your identification to see who you are, what are you doing. Even though this is not a stop and identify state or country, we still do it. So what's happening then is already happening now.
Right, but I'm understanding on a larger scale where they have the tankers and they pulling you out your house and dragging you to a concentration camp. I'm talking more like that. But I understand what you're saying, and I will be so happy when the Law Corner opens up on this program so that you can discuss these things and share that knowledge and information with the people because it's important that we understand that.
I agree.
I'm so serious.
I totally agree. The conversation needs to be had and the laws need to be learned.
But just after doing the research on 45's history, that's very disturbing. There's no way that you should be the president of the United States even with that background. I'm sorry if that's being judgmental.
It's all about revenue.
No, we got that part. But I'm talking about what we need to do as a people and how we need to change some things because that is really, really, really unfortunate that we have this man who is sparking this division within the country.
Because the guys there, one of them, I'm not sure if all of them were involved that were in the last 3 shootings, but one of them was a member of the KKK and had honoring KKK on his page and different things. So I could definitely see the correlation in what Trump is inciting in certain people.
No, really. And just looking at his background. And that's why I say it's important to understand a person's background because it'll tell you a lot about him. But his grandpa from 1869 lived to 1918. He left Germany because he didn't want to have a rule over there that every man and woman has to serve 2 years in the military before you turn 35. So he jumped up and skipped out on the military like, I'm not doing that. So no honor, no loyalty, no anything, but produced his father, which was a KKK, and then produced Trump, 45, which, some are calling a complete racist.
He definitely is racist.
But his word selection and everywhere is infested. If it's somewhere infested in the United States, then you need to get your 45 self over there and handle it because it's your job as a president to make sure that the country's running smoothly. And if you can identify all these infested places, that means that you have a responsibility and an obligation to go uninfest them. But I'm just a little teed because we are allowing this man to really take the whole country to another level. Now, his financial dealings, he's winning. He's winning because that's the purpose. But we're losing as a people. But we cannot put our trust in our loyalty and our belief into a political system.
Or your life freedom.
Well, yes. But we have to know. More people have to understand the rules and all the things that you've been learning and you've been experiencing because if you don't know, then you can't do anything about it. And that's what the platform is here, so they can give information and people can learn different things and understand it to the best of our ability. And it is up to each individual to do your own research, just a little bit of time. If you're going to be on your phone, you could Google anything.
I feel like we become so lazy as a people, as a community.
Of course. Mm-hmm. When it's a video game opposed to riding your bicycle outside, lazy. If it's a video game, instead of skateboarding or going out, jump roping or doing all the things that give you exercise and help you, of course we're creating lazy, mentally lazy, physically lazy individuals. That's why the activities in our children's lives are so important, especially today, for a kid to get out and get on a track team or to do cheer or to do something, dance, or to learn how to play a piano or flute or any type of instrument. It's so vital. Because we have become a society that is lazy.
We like it instant. We don't like to do anything. Like just the other day, we went out to a fast food place, and literally there was no line inside the fast food place, maybe like one person. The drive-through probably was at least a 30, 40-minute wait. So right then and there, that instant just shows, wow, people don't even want to have to walk or get up or, do anything. It's just so accessible. And we become like that with everything in our life.
The most scariest part of this little conversation right now is we have created a lazy mentality. And that means that we're not willing to do the work. We're not willing to do the research. We're not willing to think outside the box. We're not willing to do something different. We're not willing to, just expand our minds. That's the most hurtful thing, is that the mind is lazy.
Yeah, no, seriously. And then even for the mind, too, we don't even use enough of the mind.
What if they want to use 10% of it?
I'll be surprised if we even use 10.
Did you see the movie Lucy?
No, I've never seen it.
Okay. It was a movie called Lucy. But it was about they had this drug that they were importing into the society. Long story short, the drug made you use more of your brain.
Oh, I think I did see that.
And how she could move to the future, move to this and do that. But just even if with your own brain power, that was just taken to an extreme for this moment. But the reality is that when I really do meditate and I eat right and I really, really concentrate, I believe that my mind, I push it past that point.
Yeah, and that's what we don't do anymore.
I push
Our
it
body
past that point.
Is literally like a plant. You have to water it with certain things so that it could grow properly. And we're so addicted to junk food, what we call it. McDonald's, eating bad, all those things are junk food. And we eat just to eat. We don't eat to really nourish our body. And we don't put the right things that's supposed to go in our body so that it could grow and develop and you are able to use more of your mind. When I started studying, literally my brain and my head was literally hurting.
When you started studying what?
When I was studying the law, just new things, studying, researching on health, it was like my brain was hurting from it because I'm not used to using that much of my mind. Like you said, I'm used to do this homework and that's it. But really going in depth to studying and learning, researching to like a full extent took my brain, I feel like, to a different place. And you can see how much we're not utilizing.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see how much you're not utilizing. So that's just an example to show if we put a little more in depth into utilizing our brain, we could go a lot further.
No, for real, seriously. And that's eating right. When your body is healthy and you're putting the right things in it completely. But then here we go with
you become more conscious.
But then here we go. What is the right thing?
We have to be lazy and do research.
We have to not be lazy. Is that what you said?
We have to not be lazy. Sorry. We have to not be lazy and do research. You have to figure it out. Just because someone tell you, hey, this is good. Like one thing people say, meat gives you protein. And it's just like, who told you that? Did you do your research and figure that out?
Uh-huh.
So it's like.
So what would give you protein other than meat?
That's the thing. People have to do research. Figure it out.
Oh my God. Okay, it's because everything doesn't work the same. But I did share a video with you this week.
Like apples.
Okay.
Are really, really healthy for you. So it's just different things that feed the body.
Absolutely.
Right. And I'm still learning. I'm still doing research because I'm on a transition to what do I want to consume in my body on a daily basis.
Right.
And it's hard because you were taught and trained something from beginning, and then when you finally realize, okay, I don't like the way this makes my body feel, or this caused cancer, or different things, it's like, why would I want to continue to consume certain things that I know are very unhealthy for me?
But the whole thing about it is that it's once you do the research, because you don't know, we've eaten bad for so long until it is now good and it is now the norm.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to share that we had the opportunity to share a couple videos this week about the intake of food into your body and what it does and what it is supposed to do. And it was very, very interesting. It was absolutely different from anything I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. So first of all, it was getting into the right mindset to receive that information, to process it, to make a decision if it's something that I would want to partake in or not. So if you want to share a little bit about, can we talk about the junk food part 1? Was that what it was called?
Mm-hmm. Just breaking down that, we eat just to eat and not really to nourish our bodies.
Exactly.
And it was interesting. You learn a lot, and also how we've been programmed to maybe cook or eat or do certain things.
Can you give me an example?
Well, like maybe he was referring to, like, if you make food and you cook tomatoes. Tomatoes are not meant to be cooked. You take all the health benefits out of the tomato when you cook it. But, we will sauce some tomato, cook it, and do all
saute it, put it right on the top of something.
We'll do so many different things and think, just because we're eating the tomato, it's helpful and beneficial to our body. But really, once you cook it, it's not beneficial.
We take the nutrients out.
Or even, we take the nutrients out. Or even when he, the video we were watching that she's referring to, he was discussing breakfast. And he's like, so you're going to wake up, cook a baby feces. I mean, not feces, a baby fetus. I'm sorry. The chicken, which is a baby fetus. So he's saying you're going to wake up, cook the chicken, which is a baby fetus. Then you're going to go and cook you 4 slices of pig's ass. He's like, does this even make sense? Like, you wake up and you eat these things, but we've been so accustomed. Horrible. It does sound, but that's really what we're eating.
Right.
And that's what we've been trained to eat.
Right. Right.
So it's
no. Talk about how he said the different categories of food that you consume and how you should consume it.
Well, you seem like you know a lot. Why don't you go ahead and give us
okay. No, because I was listening. I watched it a couple times.
No, but before we transfer over about the breakfast thing, he broke down the American way of eating breakfast. And he said it doesn't even make sense to consume the chicken fetus, which is a dead chicken, which is a baby, and then the pig's ass. How is it okay? Like, how is nobody like, this doesn't even seem like we should really be, eating this. And then you make hash browns, and then you make, you have this big old festival plate of food that's just so unnecessary to the body. But he did break down and say you are supposed to be eating fruits with fruits, vegetables with vegetables. Like, you're supposed to be eating certain things consumed together, whether it's sweet fruits together, because, we're so used to having a starch and then a meat maybe, and then some vegetables, and we're thinking, we're getting all the right sources of nutrient and different things that we need for our body, when you're really not getting anything. The way we cook certain stuff, we kill all the protein. And there's no protein in meat. A lot of people have that consumption that you get your protein from meat. You can't get protein from a dead corpse.
Not funny. It's not funny.
But it sounds funny when you really,
but it sounds funny
when you break it down and think about it. You cannot get protein from a dead corpse. We're eating dead corpse. Yeah, I would just put a cemetery on our.
I know. No, he was really deep. He went really deep, and he went really hard, really fast. The other thing,
corpse causes pesticides,
and that's what we want to talk about: the pesticides that are living in your body after you eat the meat that's dead. And then he talked about the chicken, frying the chicken. What do you say when the stuff comes out of the chicken when you fry it? It's pus.
Pus. Yeah, it's pus.
So it was really eye-opening.
Yeah. But nobody wants to know that. It's easier to just believe, we're eating meat, you have protein, than to really say, what are we really eating, break it down, and
what's
diagnose.
The real details?
Yeah, it's a lot. Nobody wants to do that, because then when you have to touch into reality, that means you have to make changes. No one wants to make lifestyle changes. Yeah, we just prefer to have surgery, pop some pills, and just keep it pushing. But to actually make a full lifestyle change on how you're eating, what you're consuming, exercising, it's just too much. We're too lazy for that.
I know, and I want to touch base. I don't touch base on my my beliefs or what I really believe in, because everybody's so entitled to whatever, and I really don't like sharing that. But I do read the Word, the Bible, and there's some things in there that I'm still a little, I have some questions about. But one of the passages that I was reading, it was saying that the people used to live to be 800 years old. And I believe if I'm going to believe anything in there, I'll believe that. And the only reason why I'll believe that is because of what they consumed. what they ate.
Didn't you say you could live just off water?
Well, I don't know about that part right there, but it could be a possibility if we do
Just
the
water.
research and find out. But I want to say about people living that long, even to live 300 years old, or they, said people live like a really long time. But I think that was because of what they were consuming. I don't think they were eating the meat they were eating the vegetables and the fruit just as was described
here. They were eating just for their body.
Right. It just as was described here, vegetables with vegetables and fruits with fruits.
And that's it.
And everything, else is unconsumable.
They were eating it raw. Raw potatoes, raw fruits, raw vegetables.
Yes.
Now we've just cooked everything, which takes any protein, any nutrient.
It takes the life out of it.
Yeah, it's not even for the body anymore. What was he talking about? French fries?
Oh,
you can eat raw potatoes. You're supposed to eat raw potatoes. I've never tried it, but they said raw potatoes were what you're supposed to be eating. But we've come to boil potatoes
in grease.
Which the grease consumes the potato, so it's hard for our body to break down the potato in our body. And a lot of just the way we eat is just so sad when you start
the health corner over here we're having right now.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting just watching the videos, gathering the information,
getting the knowledge,
and just seeing how it could relate or how it could be true or how it affected me. It made me just think that made me think about the 800-year-old people in the Word.
Just from hearing that, lifestyle changes have been made for my life. Because it's just like you can't hear that and then just go back to being okay with eating the way you were eating. Like, he's literally breaking down us eating dead corpse, and we should have a cemetery on our forehead because we're storing.
Yeah, no, we're eating to die. I mean, you're gonna die anyway, though.
I know, but you
at the end of the day,
preserve your life. Yeah,
it's inevitable according to what we know.
And then another thing too, they worry about cancer, diabetes,
exactly.
All arthritis. All these different
blindness.
Yes. What's the other one when you kind of forget your memory?
Alzheimer's.
All these different things are caused because what we're consuming in our body, and part of it is that our body can't break down some of these fatty foods, and it's just no nutrition. You're not feeding the body. You're feeding just to eat, having a feast, really, because the portion sizes are crazy.
No, seriously. I mean, because
we have to eat better as a whole and take
I would
better
definitely
care
wake
of our
up
bodies.
with a country breakfast before I read this and saw this.
And you're supposed to have your most heaviest meal at lunchtime, not dinner. We have it so backwards. We're literally killing ourselves.
Well, my understanding and one of the
we're literally killing ourselves.
My understanding is that you're really supposed to have one meal a day, and you're supposed to really eat one every other day. Seriously,
that's what I'm saying. We've been so trained systematically to do everything backwards, which causes us more problems in the future.
No, absolutely.
But you're supposed to have your heaviest meal during lunch so that your body could consume it and digest it. But we eat heavy, then go straight to sleep. Our body is not digesting and breaking down those foods.
No, first of all, the food is unbreakable. You can't even break this mess down, okay? Second of all, we're putting the wrong things in there. I do believe that part. I do believe in order to have high blood pressure, hypertension, doing all this.
It's all it takes is lifestyle changes. I was watching a documentary on a woman. She was in such bad condition, she couldn't even walk. Literally could not even walk. And they didn't know what was wrong with her. They didn't know. They're giving her, literally, she had over 12 medications that she had to take a day. And it became too much for her. Literally, she hit a low point. It was just like, I don't even know if I could go on. She came in contact with somebody, said, what we're going to do is just try to get you on a healthier path. So what we'll do is transition your food. Slowly, she started changing her food. Within the month, the first 2 weeks, she was slowly transitioning her food, what she consumed. And then the last 2 weeks of that month, she only ate fruits and vegetables. She was able to walk. She didn't have to take the medication anymore. Literally from just transitioning from the first month to the next month to only going eating fruits and vegetables, where it was a drastic change. And that documentary right there showed me that what we're consuming in our bodies is what's causing all these different problems.
Right.
Yeah.
And what about the other story you told me a while back about the little old lady and the little old man?
Yes, one more thing. She's, I believe, 78 or 81. She looks like she's 40. Her husband, they're about the same age, and they've been married since they were in their 20s. And, so for a long time. And at 25, he had a butcher shop where they butchered meat, did different things with the meat. She stopped at 25 because once she was able to see how everything was processed and how it was done, she was no longer interested in eating meat. So she stopped eating meat at 25. He continued to eat meat. And now, at 80, she's probably smaller than me, looks phenomenal, healthy. She only eats raw fruits and vegetables that she grow in her own garden. And he's in a wheelchair, take, again, maybe 5 to 10 different medications a day, an oxygen tank hooked up to his face, and he said, I wish a long time ago I would have stopped eating with her. Because now he's going through so many complications. And she's like, I've never even took an aspirin since 50 years. I don't even take medication. She's just so healthy.
Yeah, she lived.
And it was crazy to see that. And it showed what she consumed in her body to what he consumed in her body. In his body, I'm sorry. And the difference of what it did for their bodies. And she's
now
100%
that right there is
healthy.
important. That right there, that was a winning story for me as well, which made me look at what my consumption is. Because, I've been in a relationship with food.
Yeah, it's like a drug. It's so
exactly.
addicting. I've been there. I'm addicted to sweets, sugar, all those different things. But now I only drink water in the mornings. I make me a fruit snack. Well, it's not a snack. Let's say bowl.
A fruit bowl.
Where I'm eating literally just fruits. So I'm changing that transition. So when I become older, I'm in the best state as possible. And we're not all going to live forever. Mm-hmm. But I want to preserve my life, be as healthy as I can. And that's what I'm focusing on. And I think it's important.
Well, I think it's awesome.
It's not hard. I mean, it's not easy, but it becomes easier
as you go. Because even with my own transition of cutting back and not eating this and eating that, there are times when I'm like, ooh, I want a nice big juicy steak. But I know what the results of it is at this point, and so now I'm on a different path myself. Because
and sometimes I crave those juicy steaks because I've been so addicted to it for my whole life. So not saying that, oh my God, I can't, I want it sometimes, but it's strengthening my mind to be strong.
It's discipline.
Exactly.
And what's better and what's going to work for you.
It might taste good. A moment on them lips is a lifetime
in that body, on them hips and in that body. So that's true. I want to say thank you guys for joining us. Morris Media Live, Next Level Convo. Oh my God, I know what we would take the break for. It was to get my grandson's picture.
Oh yes. Happy birthday, Cairo. Happy birthday, Cairo.
Oh my God. I wanted to say
his birthday's tomorrow.
My grandson is turning 1. And
Your
I want to say,
grandson.
Yeah, one of my grandsons. Mm-hmm. I have 2. And the other one they met here. But the youngest one is turning 1.
Yeah.
And oh my God, he is just such a wonderful, happy little baby. And his mom told me, please don't get on there and tell a story about your grandson that he's a perfect little grandson. I'm like, he is.
He really is. He literally can't do no wrong.
According to us, right?
But happy birthday, Cairo.
Shout out to Cairo. And I want to shout out to his dad for doing the beat, my new music. And he sent me a couple other ones and said that I could switch it up. I was like, oh my God. But thank you, Q, for the beat. I really appreciate it. Yes. We groove to it before we come on air every Friday.
Yes. And also a shout out to Waynisha and Troy. They're getting married tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
So
oh my God. The wedding is tomorrow?
Yes.
Oh God.
But yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a pleasure hanging out and talking. So.
Next Level Convo, Morris Media Live, and we're out.
Since 97.
Since 97.